Hi everyone, my name is Valerie Martin and I'm a senior here at Gettysburg from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm a psychology major and a philosophy minor here, and I do a whole bunch of different things on campus which I'll talk about later. But right now my main focus is being an awesome orientation leader for Stein 3, and I know you guys are out there. I knew you guys are out there. All right, so a little bit about my Gettysburg experience. Ironically, my Gettysburg experience really became realized to me when I wasn't on this campus. In fact, I wasn't even in this country. I had the opportunity to study abroad in the spring, and study abroad brings a lot of really neat aspects to your Gettysburg experience in general. But the greatest impact it had for me was to show me what it means to be a community member here, right in Gettysburg. So picture this. On Monday, January 18th, 2010, I stepped out of a taxi cab in Athens, Greece, and it was pouring rain and freezing cold, which was not exactly what I expected Athens to be like when I arrived. I was standing in front of my new home. It was a lovely whitewashed apartment building, about 6 stories, squished between several other whitewashed apartment buildings on this great dead-end street that sloped with a 45-degree angle. My taxi cab driver unloaded my bags onto the street, and they promptly rolled down the street. So I had to chase after them, and I returned with my bags. And he mumbled something to me in Greek, and embarrassed, I had to admit to him that I did not speak Greek, and that I only understood English. And he just kind of shrugged and looked really disappointed, and he climbed back into his taxi cab and drove away. And there I stood on this street in Athens, pouring rain, freezing cold. I was exhausted, I was confused, I didn't speak the language, and I was very lost. And I just couldn't believe that I could find myself here in that position. After all these years at Gettysburg, I thought, isn't this what Gettysburg had been trying to prepare me for? I've been getting ready to go abroad for so long, and I've been preparing myself as a student to get ready to go abroad for so long. And I just was incredibly shocked at the fact that I felt so unprepared as I stood there. Now, when I arrived at Gettysburg 3 years ago, I came equipped with this awesome mantra that I'm sure you all have heard. College is the best 4 years of your life, and trust me, that's true. But I just kind of assumed that college would happen to me when I got here, assuming, it's the best 4 years of your life, and it will just happen. So I didn't really get too involved in the community when I arrived, and I was a friendly person, but I didn't make an effort to meet a lot of people, except for those who lived in my hall and in my dorm. And I ended up having some pretty big social issues right away, and this, led to a kind of a dependence on a lot of those who I was friends with and who I was close with, my family and my friends here on campus and my friends at home, and I relied very heavily on those who I was close with. And I guess through relying on them, and they encouraged me all to get a little bit more involved on this campus community. So my first semester here, I became a research assistant in the psychology department. And that's a job I still hold today, and I really enjoyed it. But I was still struggling and depending on a lot of people. When I returned sophomore year, I joined a couple more organizations. I became a tour guide, and I also joined a sorority. And those are things that I'm still a part of today as well. And it really helped me become more involved in this campus community, but it just didn't feel quite right. And I was still relying very heavily on those around me, and it just didn't seem quite right. So junior year, I returned, and I was an orientation leader for the class of 2013. And it really opened my eyes to some of the other awesome opportunities that we have on this campus. And I kind of decided right there that I was going to become an independent woman. I was done relying on those around me to support me and everything else. I wanted to be very independent and do my own thing. So I joined a couple more organizations. I became vice president of the Psychology Honor Society. I became an executive board member for the tour guides. I even began the process of starting a new peer counseling organization on this campus. So I took on a couple more things to to get me more involved in this campus community. But you know, with all that stress in my life, occasionally would catch up to me, and I really felt the need to lean on some people. And every time that happened, I felt really guilty about relying on people, because I had determined that I was going to be an independent woman. And so having to lean on somebody does not exactly make you independent. And I just realized that this wasn't quite right either. I couldn't understand this extreme independence either. And it was this attitude that really carried me to Athens on that lovely January afternoon. And so here I was, standing on the sidewalk, still, in the rain, in the cold. I couldn't move anywhere. I tried to move my bags across the street, and that didn't work, of course. So there I was, stuck on this sidewalk in Athens, and all of a sudden, out of my apartment building walks a younger girl, and she looked at me, and she kind of examined me, and I think I looked pretty crazy, and she burst out laughing, and she said, "Are you here with College Year in Athens?" And I said, yes I am. How could you tell? And she said, "Well, I am too." And I asked her, I said, do you think you can help me? I can't do this on my own. And it was really at that moment in Athens that I realized that I needed a balance of this independence and this dependence. That here I was, finally on my own, showing what Gettysburg had taught me in this foreign country, but you know, I still could ask for help, and I could still ask for support from people. So I think that was a really big part of my Gettysburg experience, was learning to balance this independence and this dependence. We have a great community here, and they encourage you to do your own thing, do what you love, be unique, go out and do what you want. And I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about that these last few days. But please remember to not be afraid to ask for help too. And this community is about balancing this independence and this dependence here. Thank you.